Just kidding. I'm muted. TGIF, everyone. Welcome to the Mayday Network. I'm Michelle Kinney. It's just me tonight because, it's Friday night and people have lives and they're doing things and they've got plans, except for me. I'm home. I've been in my pajamas. I ordered takeout food. I'm watching trash TV, and what comes up on my phone is that Marjorie Taylor Greene has announced that she will be resigning from Congress effective in January. I don't know about you all. You can tell me in the chat, but I feel pretty shocked by this. I'm trying to, wrap my head around why. I mean, she says why, and we'll get into that. She tells us why. But is there something else to this, right? Because Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez told us, I think a week or two ago at this point, she's not rebranded. She's, rebranded. She's not a different person by any means, but she has ambitions to run for higher office, whether that be governor, whether that be president. Only time will tell. But she put out a video, and we can watch some of that. It's pretty long, so I won't play the whole thing. Here's just a screenshot of her tweet. She put this on Twitter. I refuse to call it X. So she put this on Twitter. But here is, oh geez, where's my glasses? Good Lord, people. Here's the announcement that she put out. Okay. Let me just do this here. I've always represented the common American man and woman as a member of the House of Representatives, which is why I've always been despised in Washington, D.C. and never fit in. Americans are used by the political industrial complex of both political parties, election cycle after election cycle, in order to elect whichever side can convince Americans to hate the other side more. I do think there's some truth to that. I don't think that there's two sides of the same here by any means, but I do, I think we can all agree there's some truth to that. Instead of me squinting, to see the writing on that statement in 5 font size, let me throw this up here. I've got my Twitter open. Before I remove this, okay. Here we go. All right. I won't show the whole thing. I mean, if you want me to, I will. We can sit here and watch it, but this is crazy, guys. All right, ready?
Hi, everyone. I've always represented the common American man and woman as a member of the House of Representatives, which is why I've always been despised in Washington, D.C., and just never fit in. Americans are used by the political industrial complex of both political parties, election cycle after election cycle, in order to elect whichever side can convince Americans to hate the other side more. And the results are always the same. No matter which way the political pendulum swings, Republican or Democrat, nothing ever gets better for the common American man or woman. The debt goes higher, corporate and global interests remain Washington's sweethearts, American jobs continue to be replaced, whether it's by illegal labor or legal labor by visas or just shipped overseas. Small businesses continue to be swallowed by big corporations. Americans' hard-earned tax dollars always fund foreign wars, foreign aid, and foreign interest. And the spending power of the dollar continues to decline. The average American family can no longer survive on a single breadwinner's income, as both parents have to work in order to simply survive. And today, many in my children's generation feel hopeless for their future and don't think they will ever realize the American dream. And that breaks my heart. I ran for Congress in 2020 and have fought every single day believing that Make America Great Again meant America first. I have one of the most conservative voting records in Congress, defending the First Amendment, Second Amendment, unborn babies, because I believe God creates life at conception, and I love to fight for the little guy. Strong, safe borders, I have fought hard for that. I fought against COVID tyrannical insanity and mandated mass vaccinations. and I've never voted to fund foreign wars with your hard-earned tax dollars. However, with almost
Okay. I don't know how much more of that I can take. So, I've said on the Mayday Network and elsewhere that I do think there's a great amount of value to the things that Marjorie Taylor Greene has been saying, the way that she's been pushing back against President Donald Trump. Um, because I think it's important that the people of the MAGA base hear it, and I think that they have to hear it from someone like her. Um, that being said, her laundry list of things that she stands for, I fundamentally disagree about a lot of the things that she's saying about reproductive rights and vaccines and COVID. I mean, my God. But I think it's important to remember that Marjorie Taylor Greene, like she said just now in that video, that she ran for Congress in 2020, which she did. And so the whole time that she has served in the House, Donald Trump has not been president. He's only been a figure, a martyr, I guess, if you want to consider him that, I guess in his eyes, a martyr. But this is the first time that she's ever had to serve in government at the same time as Donald Trump. And he has clearly been pulling the levers of power to try to control her, to silence her. And it's really telling. I mean, I don't know about what you guys think, but I think this spells serious trouble for the Republicans. Serious problems. I think that she's probably going to run for higher office. I think that, I mean, she's talking about affordability on the front end of the statement, right? So she's talking about all the things that, again, we can agree on. I think no matter what side of the aisle you sit on, that affordability is a real problem in this country. I know I speak as a millennial, an elder millennial. The average age of people who are buying a house for the first time is upwards of late 40s into 50s. That being said, none of us should be trusting her. Nobody. There is no Marjorie Taylor Greene is a new person. There is none of this. I do want to play just a couple clips here, just as a reminder, kind of this journey that we've been going on with Marjorie Taylor Greene. And I think the first major turn that we saw, now obviously she came to fame with the QAnon conspiracy theory people, which all believed that there was a global cabal of child sex predators. And, I don't think that any of them maybe realized that those people are on their side. And so she came to the side of the survivors and victims of Jeffrey Epstein. The first day that they stood on the Capitol steps and spoke at a podium, and Ro Khanna was there and Thomas Massie. I thought that was a really powerful and very important thing that she did. I say that as someone who fundamentally disagrees with her about most things. But it was important, and she did not waver from her beliefs on this issue. She has pushed and pressured the president, and he has called her all kinds of names. So she's kind of taken that, and expanded on the things that she disagrees with Donald Trump beyond the Epstein files. I think also, during the shutdown, she was very, 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 very critical of Mike Johnson, of Republicans in general, and especially Donald Trump. So I'm just going to play one of these clips. She was on CNN. This was a few weeks ago. This was during the shutdown, and where she was blaming the Republican Party for what was happening.
The Democrats are accusing Speaker Johnson of delaying the swearing in of Arizona's Democratic Congresswoman-elect because she would give the last vote needed to release those Epstein files. I'm wondering, the Speaker for his part, he has denied that. He said it's because of the shutdown. Have you spoken to him? Do you think she should be sworn in right away?
Well, I'll say it like this. I can't conclusively say if that's why the House is not in session, but the House should be in session. And the House should be in session for many reasons. We have appropriation bills that need to get passed. There is a new Democrat that's been elected that does deserve to be sworn in. Her district elected her. We have other bills that we need to be passing. And if it's to avoid the discharge petition, why drag this out? That is going to have 218 signatures. And so I say go ahead and do it and get it over with.
So that was 8 days into the shutdown. So that was several weeks ago at this point, right? She goes on to appear on The View, which is, I'm sure, again, all of us who are watching here on this channel on the Mayday Network, were probably very surprised to see her on The View. Again, she has hired new consultants. She has new advisors. She's getting very, very good advice from the people that she is paying to give her that advice. And for that reason, we are seeing a new version of Marjorie Taylor Greene. And I would caution people again to never underestimate this woman. She is, she's very convincing, whatever version of herself that she presents to us. She's not dumb. She's no dummy. She's very motivated. I think she's very passionate about the things that she believes in and has proven that she can moderate herself to be a more palatable version that can be, if she were to run in a statewide race, that she thinks that she could be competitive. So here she is speaking about, again, Republicans, specifically Republican men, on The View and getting some applause.
I want all the programs to be funded, and I think that is our job, all of us together, Republicans and Democrats in the House and the Senate. And I'll look, I'm with women, so I feel very comfortable saying this. I'm really tired of the pissing contest in Washington, D.C. between the men. Yeah. I really am. Women, it's so nice to have.
And then during that same interview, Sunny Hostin, who's, again, all of these women have been very critical of her, and deservedly so, right? She has said and done really horrible things. And she's asked about, have you changed? Have you changed? Because we know you from QAnon and all this crazy stuff. Have you changed? Or is there something else to this? I'm going to play this.
Say you don't believe in the QAnon conspiracies anymore?
Oh, I went over that a long time ago. I mean,
you've changed?
Well, no, I haven't changed. I was a victim, just like you were, of media lies and stuff you read on social media. You all have attacked me many times on this show.
We have.
Because of things that you read about me. That weren't true.
Or clips we've seen.
Or clips you've seen.
The Jewish space
took me out of
lasers.
context.
What was that about?
No, but
wait, hold
not
up,
even true.
Let's take a second.
Yeah, it's been rebuffed.
I'm getting the...
My guess is the producers were in Whoopi's ear saying, stop it, no more controversial things, because they are at the beck and call of the corporate overlords at ABC, obviously. But, it's... this is all very, very surprising. And now, mind you, when I came on here, I didn't have a ton of time to grab all of the elements that I had hoped to. But, Donald Trump has been calling Marjorie Taylor Greene a traitor. He called her Marjorie Traitor Greene. He then said Marjorie Taylor Brown because, remember, green turns to brown, green grass turns to brown when it rots, or something like that. And I was like, it's great when you have to explain the joke. Good job. But I think it's also important that, we listen to the other people who have been in Congress with her, people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And she posted a very long video. I think she did a live or something like this. And this is just a portion of that. But she talked about this a couple weeks ago, and I'm just going to throw this up on screen here. Let me just get rid of this and throw this up there.
Tea for you. MTG, people are like, oh my God, she's saying all of these things. Like, what's gotten into her lately? Oh, like she's bucking against Trump. She's bucking against the administration. Marjorie Taylor Greene wanted to run for Senate in Georgia. She wanted to run for Senate earlier this year in the state of Georgia. She wanted to be the Republican nominee for Senate. So she was gearing up for that statewide race, and Trump told her no. Trump said no. And the White House and Trump land shut down Marjorie Taylor Greene's personal ambitions to run for Senate. And she has been on a revenge tour ever since.
And here we are. And here we are. Let me throw up here this. This is the New York Times. Their headline here, Marjorie Taylor Greene says she plans to resign in January. Ms. Greene, who was elected in 2020, positioned herself as a diehard Trump supporter until a series of recent ruptures with the president, who recently unendorsed her. Now, I think it was at one of the State of the Unions, right? She wore, first of all, you're not supposed to wear hats in the chamber. She had like a MAGA hat on or something like that. And kind of, I guess, greets would be a very generous word for how she approached Joe Biden as he was walking down the aisle. And there famously that meme of Joe Biden kind of doing, hey, it's kind of all over Twitter right now. But let me get more into this article here. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, the hard-right Georgia Republican, said on Friday night that she would resign from Congress in January, an announcement that came days after President Trump branded her a traitor for breaking with him and helping to force a vote to compel the Justice Department to release its files related to Jeffrey Epstein. Ms. Greene, who was elected in 2020 and positioned herself as a diehard Trump supporter, like I was just saying, in the chamber with her red MAGA hat on, she has been there since day one, until a series of recent ruptures with the president on a variety of issues, made the abrupt announcement in a video and statement she posted online, filmed from her home in Georgia. Quote, loyalty should be a two-way street, and we should be able to vote our conscience and represent our district's interests, Ms. Greene wrote in a long post. She said that if she had been cast aside by MAGA Inc., it was indicative that, quote, many common Americans have been cast aside and replaced as well. So I think what I'm going to do here is throw this her Twitter video back up, and we can watch just a little bit more of this, because I mean she had a lot to say. Let me see.
1 year into our majority, the legislature has been mostly sidelined. We endured an 8-week shutdown, wrongly resulting in the House not working for the entire time, and we are entering campaign season, which means all courage leaves and only safe campaign re-election mode is turned on in the House of Representatives. During the longest shutdown in our nation's history, I raged against my own speaker and my own party for refusing to proactively work diligently to pass the plan to save Americans' health care and protect Americans from outrageous, overpriced, and unaffordable health insurance policies. The House should have been in session working every day to fix this disaster. But instead, America was force-fed disgusting political drama once again from both sides of the aisle on television every single day. My bills, which reflect many of President Trump's executive orders, like calling for a new census counting Americans only to draw new districts, making English the official language of the U.S., making it a felony to medically trans a minor, and other bills like eliminating capital gains taxes on the sale of your primary home and eliminating H-1B visas, just sit. They all sit collecting dust. That's how it is for most members of Congress bills. The Speaker never brings them to the floor for a vote. Many common Americans are no longer easily convinced by paid political propaganda spokespersons and consultants on TV and paid shills on social media obediently serving with cult-like conviction to force others to swallow the political party talking points. Because they know how much credit card debt they have, they know how much their bills have gone up over the past 5 years. They actually do their own grocery shopping and know food costs too much. Their rent has increasingly gone up and up. They have been outbid by corporate asset managers too many times when they put in an offer to buy a house. They have been laid off after being forced to train their visa holding replacement. The college degree they were told to earn only left them in debt with no big 6-figure salary. They see more homeless people than ever on their own community streets. They can't afford health insurance or practically any insurance, and they just aren't stupid. These are the people I represent and love because that is who all of my family and friends are, common Americans. I've been blessed to represent the 14th District of Georgia for 5 years. The district is filled with some of the most wonderful, kind-hearted, God-fearing, patriotic, hardworking people you will ever meet. Good, regular, common Americans. I've worked hard to bring taxpayer dollars back home to help district needs. I impeached Biden's Secretary of Homeland after watching my constituents die as he facilitated.
I understand that this is her exit interview from the House of Representatives, but it's first of all, I would advise her to not make an 11-minute video. That's just me. But it's a lot of the things she's saying, she's just reminding us like how out there she is. Like she's very extreme. However, she is talking about things that the everyday average American can relate to, whether that is buying a home, whether that's buying food for your family, whether that is being able to pay for your health insurance. These are all things that we have in common. And this is one of the things that, it scares me a little bit because Nick Fuentes talks about this stuff too. And Nick Fuentes is very vocal about the affordability issue and about housing and things like that, especially for younger Americans. And they listen to him. And I'm always afraid that on that other side, on the other side of the horseshoe, that they're going to pick up some people who have that in common. I don't know. Who knows? But it does speak to the fact that she's not just saying, screw you guys, F you, Trump, I'm out of here. She is continuing to talk about these things as though she is going to run for higher office. I think it's important that we keep all this in perspective, listening to her kind of go on and on and on about COVID and about, what did she say? Like help impeach the homeland or something. I was just, oh God, it makes me think of when she said gazpacho instead of, Gestapo. All right. So let's just listen to a little bit more of this before I turn it off for good here. Let me put this back up.
Dangerous open border invasion into America. And I led the effort to defund hard left politically biased NPR and PBS and the corrupt USAID, and I did that as chair of the DOJ subcommittee. I have fought harder than almost any other elected Republican to elect Donald Trump and Republicans to power. I traveled the country for years, spent millions of my own money. I missed precious time with my family that I can never get back. And I showed up in places like outside the New York courthouse in Collect Pond Park against a raging leftist mob as Trump faced Democrat lawfare. Meanwhile, most of the establishment Republicans who secretly hate him and who stabbed him in the back and never defended him against anything have all been welcomed in right after the election. Woo! And I will never forget the day I had to leave my mother's side as my father had brain surgery to remove cancerous tumors in order to fly to Washington, D.C. to defend President Trump and vote no against the Democrats' second impeachment in 2021. My poor father and my poor mother, it was way too much for all of us. Through it all, I never changed or went back on my campaign promises and only disagreed in a few areas, like my stance against H-1Bs replacing American jobs, AI state moratoriums, debt for life 50-year mortgage scams, standing strongly against all involvement in foreign wars, and demanding the release of the Epstein files. Other than that, my voting record has been solely with my party and the president. Loyalty should be a two-way street, and we should be able to vote our conscience and represent our district's interests because our job title is literally representative. America first should mean America first and only Americans first. with no other foreign country ever being attached to America first in our halls of government. Standing up for American women who were raped at 14 years old, trafficked and used by rich, powerful men should not result in me being called a traitor and threatened by the President of the United States, whom I fought for. However, while yes, hurtful, my heart remains filled with joy, my life is filled with happiness, and my true convictions remain unchanged, because my self-worth is not defined by a man, but instead by God, who created everything in existence. You see, I have never valued power, titles, or attention, in spite of all the wrong assumptions about me. I do not cling to those things because they are meaningless and empty traps that hold too many people in Washington. I believe in term limits and do not think Congress should be a lifelong career or an assisted living facility. My only goal and desire has ever been to hold the Republican Party accountable for the promises it makes to the American people and put America first. And I have fought against Democrats' damaging policies like the Green New Deal, wide open, deadly, unsafe border policies, and the trans agenda on children and against women. With that has brought years of non-stop, never-ending personal attacks, death threats, lawfare, ridiculous slander and lies about me that most people could never withstand even for a single day.
Okay, I think we've all had enough. I'm seeing the chat here. Some of these messages I cannot put up on screen, but I do appreciate your honesty in this moment that we are all together. Yeah, I mean, again, like a lot of this is her own version of reality. You know, it's hard to listen to, but again, there's a lot of things that she's saying that make a whole lot of sense. And I agree with her on some of this stuff that there should be term limits. I let me know in the comments if you agree. I mean, I agree that there should be term limits. She's also recently been vocal about there's a huge influencer culture, and this happens on the left and the right. I think more on the right, especially at bigger dollar amounts, where special interests and candidates and things like that pay influencers to post about things that they want them to. And she made the argument that that there should be disclaimers on these, like how, you know, when you're on Instagram or something and you see someone kind of peddling a product, it'll say ad on it or something. She thinks that it should be the same. I happen to agree again, but it's hard to forget the pain that she has inflicted on this country during COVID, to chasing Parkland shooting survivors on the streets of DC and yelling at them, to the trauma that has been inflicted on so many women suffering from reproductive issues. So it's, you know, she's saying nice things, she's saying good things. I think she's saying things that the MAGA base need to hear in order to shake them out of their cult. But at what cost, right? That's kind of where I'm at. And also, you know, I think that there's another question here that I think all these people are asking themselves is, what is the future of MAGA? What is the future of MAGA? Who's going to take this over? Because when Donald Trump goes, and he will, whether it's voluntarily or not, whether it's with a health issue or something to that effect, there will be a small window of opportunity for someone or something to swoop in and try and fill that space. I think especially even after today, I just want to briefly touch on this because this was crazy. I don't know if you guys saw the clips today from the Oval Office of Donald Trump meeting with Mamdani. It was crazy. I have been, you know, somewhat critical of him. I'm a New Yorker. I live in New York City. Some of the things that he has said have given me pause. I did eventually decide to vote for him, which I did. Just be transparent about that. But the exchange had me LOLing because Zohran Mamdani is very smart. He's very charismatic, and there's no doubt in my mind that he went into this meeting and into this space to talk to Donald Trump, knowing exactly how to talk to him, how to flatter him, how to bring it all back to New York City, how to bring it all back to Queens, how to make him hometown hero, at least give him the illusion that he might be in his own mind. I'm just going to play some of this because it's just wild, and I'm sure MAGA is watching this not understanding what's going on or being like, oh my God, because Elise Stefanik actually has doubled down since then, has put out her own tweets saying, agree to disagree, and then called Zohran Mamdani a bunch of horrible names. But he's defending him. I'm just going to play this here.
In our views. Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay. You can just say yes. Okay. It's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
Mr. President, I want to...
What? And then this again, another right-wing reporter, I don't know if it was Fox or someone else, was pushing Zohran Mamdani about like, why'd you fly here? Don't you care about the environment? And Trump defends him. It's wild.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a question for you, but a very quick one for the mayor. Why did you fly here? Aren't trains greener?
I will use every form of transit, and I want to make sure that they're all affordable in New York City, and that's why making buses fast and free is a centerpiece of our campaign.
There is a bus that goes...
Well, I know, but if you flew, that's a lot quicker, too. No.
Your time is...
He's working very hard. For him to be, that's a very long drive. I'll stick up for you. You know, the plane takes you 30 minutes and driving takes you a long
Mr. President, I was wondering if you...
Okay, here's another exchange where, again, it's brought up the kind of things that they have called each other and what Zohran Mamdani has called Donald Trump. And he just is kind of like, yeah, don't worry about it.
Mr. Mamdani, it sounds like you had a productive discussion, but just days ago, you referred to President Trump as a despot who betrayed the country. You said you would be his worst nightmare and accused him of having a fascist agenda. Are you planning to retract any of these remarks in order to improve your relationship?
I think both President Trump and I, we are very clear about our positions and our views, and what I really appreciate about the president is that the meeting that we had focused not on places of disagreement, which there are many, and also focused on the shared purpose that we have in serving New Yorkers. And frankly, that is something that could transform the lives of the 8.5 million people who are currently struggling under a cost of living crisis, with 1 in 4 living in poverty. And the meeting came back again and again to what it could look like to lift those New Yorkers out of struggle and start to deliver them a city that they could do more than just struggle to afford it, but actually start to live in it.
And I've been called much worse than a despot, so it's not that insulting.
And there is this moment, I don't have the clip, where Mamdani was talking about an FDR or he was talking about FDR and New Deal or something. And of course, Donald Trump then had to make it about himself. And he's like, I found this FDR portrait. I found it down in the basement or whatever. And he's like, nobody knew it was there. And I found it, because it's all about him, right? And this just 5-second clip where he talks about, just how many voters in New York, because obviously Trump did better in New York City this past election than he had done previously.
He said a lot of my voters actually voted for him, and I'm
1 in 10.
And I'm okay with that.
Of course he is, because Donald Trump loves Donald Trump. And that's really the only thing that matters. And then Donald Trump has also asked if he would live in Mamdani's New York City, which again blows every other attack line from the Republican Party out of the water, and all of the talking points from the business community, and like, oh, I'm leaving New York, and this is going to be terrible. It's going to be a communist hellhole. We'll see about that.
Thank you, Mr. President. You're a billionaire. You have a different address nowadays than you used to, but you used to call New York City home. Would you feel comfortable living in New York City under a Mamdani administration?
Yeah, I would. I really would. Especially after the meeting. Absolutely.
I'm just gonna and then I won't play all these clips, but there's another one here. He talks about reinstating. I will play this one, actually. It's about Jessica Tisch, who's the police commissioner. Jessica Tisch is from a very, very wealthy New York family, the Tisch family. Their names are on all kinds of buildings here. And she's been serving as the police commissioner. She's actually friends with Julie. And she is well respected. Everyone likes her. And this is what this exchange too. It's just crazy.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. President. You said that you both spoke about crime.
Yeah.
There are many police officers set to come off the rolls at the end of this year in New York City. Are you going to allow those police to be replaced with police officers, actual cops? And are you going to require that that happens? Would there be some consequence if the
Well, I hope
staff...
it happens, but again, that's going to be ultimately the mayor's decision.
What's your answer?
Is that I look forward to delivering public safety with the NYPD, and I've said over the course of our campaign that we have the number of police officers today. They are the ones that's budgeted about 35,000 headcount. And I think the key thing is that we have to make it easier for police to focus on police work, not ask them to respond to 200,000 mental health calls a year.
So is that a reduction from what you're at right now? Are you committing to maintaining the same level of cops?
I've committed over the course of the campaign to maintain the 35,000. That's the headcount that we had through the campaign.
And not replace them with caseworkers, social workers?
No, I've said that's the headcount that we want. What we need to do is make sure they can focus on serious crime.
And he just retained a great police commissioner, I believe, right?
Yes, we did, Commissioner Tisch.
If the newspapers are correct.
That one they're correct about.
He retained, I think, somebody that is she's a good friend of some of the people in my family, of Ivanka, and they say she's really good, really competent, and he just retained her so that.
You know, Bill Maher years ago, must have been probably during his first term after Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer became the House Speaker and Majority Leader. He did a whole new rules about Donald Trump and how he sees people from cities. And it really is like a country mouse, city mouse thing, because Chuck and Nancy are his people. They're New York people. And he looks at the rest of the country kind of as like chumps. And it became apparent throughout this conversation that a lot of his other preconceived notions kind of went out the window. Obviously, when Zohran Mamdani was flattering him, but also when they started talking about the city, talking about people he knows, talking about people that his daughter knows that are well connected, that are part of New York culture and society and rich people. And, you know, this is like, oh, you're talking my language now. So there was a lot of this. There's a lot of handshaking and, you know, patting on the thing. And I say all this to say, because we're talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene here, and this is why we came on to do this live, and how much in her resignation video and how all of the media hits that she's been doing recently, talking about prices, talking about healthcare, talking about all these things. And now I did play a large portion of her video that she posted online just because I felt that it was important to actually hear what she had to say, whether you like it or not. I did get some text messages telling me to turn it off. So if you're still here with me after watching that, thank you. But you know, Zohran Mamdani really stayed on message. He really stayed on message, standing next to him, talking about affordability. Again, this is the issue of the moment. Donald Trump does not understand it. He does not know what it is. And you'll hear it just in what he says here.
We had a meeting today that actually surprised me. He wants to see no crime. He wants to see housing being built. He wants to see rents coming down, all things that I agree with.
Yeah. And then he goes on to say, and I guess I don't have the rest of that clip here, where he talks about affordability. You know, it's that new word, affordability, and groceries, that old fashioned word. These things he said today. You know, and I'm usually, you know, personally, I have been very critical of Democrats who kind of preemptively, I don't want to say bend the knee, but just kind of open their arms to Donald Trump. And usually that has been in reaction to things happening. But I think this was strategically different, and it feels different. And again, I say this as someone who hasn't been a major fan of Zohran Mamdani's either, but there was, this was something else to see today. And so on the other side of this, the cable news had different things to say. This is what Nicole Wallace had to say.
Now I've seen everything. Hi again, everybody. You've been watching Donald Trump fall in love with New York City's mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani in the Oval Office after a meeting with high stakes for the country's largest city.
But Fox News has been covering this days, weeks, months, that Zohran Mamdani, this communist, and he's jihadist. I think that one of the big graphics they had up today was like something about socialism, and really setting this up to be momentous, like an owning of the libs kind of day. But after this exchange of the love fest where Donald Trump fell in love with Zohran Mamdani, Fox News, Brian Kilmeade.
Now I'm in New York City. We were watching that press conference. I think J.D. Vance is jealous. I think the president wants to use him as a running mate. They really got along fantastic. Hi, everyone.
Like, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. I'm on a bunch of group chats. I won't call anybody out just because, we're all trying to figure out kind of what's going on here. But everyone's twisting themselves into pretzels trying to figure out what Donald Trump's going to say, because he does have a chokehold on the MAGA movement, right? But he really unleashed something that was already in motion. And so what happens next? I don't know. What happens to Marjorie Taylor Greene next? I don't know. It looks like, right, January 5th will be the effective date that she leaves Congress, which means there will have to be a special election in that district. We'll see who runs. It's a very, very red district. So, but again, like running on these issues, who knows? A very red district in 2026, in January 2026, is going to be a different situation than it was 4 or 5 years ago. And Brian Kilmeade talking about J.D. Vance there too. It's again, like, it's telling, because J.D. Vance is also, it has been reported that he and others, there's a small group of people who really know what's going on behind closed doors when it comes to Donald Trump's health. And what's going on about, his plans for third term, not third term, the threats that he's making, the things that he's signaling. And of course, this is all in the backdrop of Donald Trump calling for the execution of members of Congress in the last 48 hours. I mean, my God. You want to spend time talking about these things. This is major news tonight. This is major, major news. But we all have to be mindful not to report or to have these conversations singularly, because all of this is connected. All of this matters. And, I made this video the other day. I'm going to play this. I just put together it's a little more tongue in cheek, obviously, about the future of the MAGA movement and J.D. Vance and how he's been watching all of this, thinking that he is the heir to the MAGA movement and thinking that he's going to slip in. But again, people like Marjorie Taylor Greene tonight announcing her resignation from Congress, I think, there's a lot of people vying for this crown. So let me just go ahead and play this here.
The President of the United States is going through what we Gen Zers call a legendary crash out.
This week, the president's name turned up repeatedly in just released emails from the Epstein estate.
He is manically posting on Truth Social.
President Trump has declared he is officially pulling his endorsement of Marjorie Taylor Greene. The Georgia congresswoman has been demanding the release of the Epstein files.
The pressure that is mounting based on the release of these Epstein emails.
Rumors of Donald Trump doing sexual acts with Bubba, who is Bill Clinton for some reason.
What did Jeffrey Epstein mean in his emails when he said you knew about the girls?
I know nothing about that.
He's called Marjorie Taylor Greene, quote, Marjorie Traitor Greene.
That all wacky Marjorie Taylor Greene does is complain, complain, complain.
Combined with Donald Trump's deteriorating state.
Well, President Trump is also upset with Congressman Thomas Massie, who also wants the Epstein files released.
I had an MRI. I have no idea what they analyzed, but whatever they analyzed it well.
Is frankly accelerating the physical and mental rot that we're seeing in Donald Trump.
The doctor said it was the best result he has ever seen as a doctor.
Losing his mind. And I'm reaping all the benefits.
And if you know Wedding Singer, famous movie from the late 90s, you would know that scene is from Wedding Singer. and it applies here. So guys, it's, oh my God, I've been talking. I don't even know how I filled up all that time. But I did. And thank you all so much for being here. I'll wait just a couple of minutes here. If you guys have any questions or things you want me to just throw up on screen, I'm happy to do that. This is all just like, this is bonkers. This is just bonkers, bonkers, bonkers news. And, you know, there was once upon a time that Friday nights, Fridays in general, and I would even say this in like 2020, Fridays were like, you know, like news dump days, like just kind of like dump a bunch of stuff, but it would never be like crazy news like this. And it just seems as though day after day after day after day after day, it's just craziness. And this is all by design too, right? I mean, not only is Donald Trump manic, but they wanna keep us scrambling for the next thing, so that when they're doing all this other stuff, like what they're doing to the Department of Education this week, what RFK Jr. Had the CDC, they directed the CDC to write that vaccines cause autism on the CDC website, which we all know here is not true. So, you know, all of these things. And by the way, if you were watching us today, or all the days go together, about the Coast Guard and how the Coast Guard was removing swastikas, nooses, and other white supremacist symbols from being prohibited. But I guess today then there was a reversal, because word got out and they were like, oh, well, I guess we can't do that. And then again, I have to say it again, in the backdrop of the president of the United States, who's all chummy there with the mayor, the next mayor of New York City, all chummy after again having called him a jihadist and a communist in the last 48 hours, was calling for the murder of members of Congress, who also happen to have served their country either, you know, with the CIA or in the United States military. So it's all crazy. So somebody asked me, Michelle, you should see if you can get MTG on for an interview. I mean, yeah, I've thought about that. It's an interesting thing. I mean, yes, I'd like to in theory. I just, you know, sometimes I'm like, do you want to platform somebody like that? But again, you can't. Julie and I talk about this, you know, the earth is round, the earth is flat situation. So you have to, if you're going to have people like that come on your shows, or you're going to platform people like that, you better hold their feet to the fire and make them tell the truth and not let them get away with rewriting history. So I think it would be a situation like that. That's if, I mean, I don't even know. I don't know if we would want to waste our time doing that. But let's see. I'm just seeing, someone else asked, will there be a special election for her seat? Yes. If you guys remember, I remember, was it like 2017, John Ossoff, the first time he ran for Congress, I think it was like Georgia 6. It was one of the most expensive congressional races to that at that point. And it was all eyes, and he ended up losing. But, you know, I think it'll be something like that. I think it's going to be all eyes on this seat, seeing kind of which way the wind blows. Michelle, he keeps chaos alive, steering us away from all the shit they don't want us to see. Exactly. Not enough gummies in the world. You're telling me. You're telling me, Rosie. Let's see. Are you having coffee and conversation tomorrow? Yes, we are. It will be probably Tara and I to start off, because Julie has a squash tournament for her kiddo up in Westchester. So it'll just be us, but I haven't scheduled that yet. So if you are subscribed, you will get a notification when I schedule that for tomorrow morning. We'll be going live at 10 a.m. Eastern. Let's see. What else? Did you hear about the Nazi running for Senate in Florida? No, I didn't. Who did? I mean, I did not hear about this. So I will look into this, and I will make sure we talk about it, because oh my God. Rob Law, Ms. Green, is the earth round or is the earth flat? Like, listen, in 2025, I really don't know what kind of answer we're going to get. Marjorie Taylor Greene makes me physically ill. Same. Again, it's hard to be physically sickened by someone, but also find value in the things that she's saying to the base, because it is important in the long run that these people are deprogrammed from their cult. And it's not going to be us that is able to do it. it's going to have to be one of their own shaking them out of the coma, or out of the trance rather. Whenever she tells a lie, have a drink. Anyone who doesn't do alcohol can have non-alcoholic drinks. I mean, yeah. Maybe she's planning to run for governor of Georgia. I think that's the plan, honestly. If not president, I could see her doing that too. But I think for now, I think it's going to be governor of Georgia. But why resign so soon? I don't know. I do think that there was a fair amount of, I think she gets a lot of threats. And I think after Charlie Kirk, I think people are a lot more scared. I'm just speculating here. I don't know. But I'm sure that has something to do with it. And if there is anything else out here in the wilderness that we don't know about, I'm sure it will get leaked and reported on certainly soon. Which way the wind blows. Was that a fart joke about? I mean, no, but lol. John, what do you have the mic brand you use? Yes, this is why am I blanking? I know what that's kind of. This is a Shure mic. It's a Shure mic. They make great mics. This is like the less fancy version of it. But yeah, it's a Shure mic. Michelle, when are you going to show the new ad Tara was talking about? Oh, I think that I don't have it here because I'm on the Mayday account here, not the Seneca account. I think that this is probably the ad that Seneca Project released yesterday. So if you want to go to Seneca Project's YouTube or Instagram or something like that, it's up there. It's about Jeffrey Epstein. Why does it feel like my spleen just imploded? I don't know. Why does it feel like all of our organs are imploding? If the earth was flat, cats would have pushed everything off by now. That is absolutely true. I speak from experience that cats will knock anything off. My two cats love to break all my things, including at one point a very expensive camera lens. So I learned the hard way not to put anything valuable near any ledge. Let's see. January 6th pardons. Yes, he did. Maybe she's had enough of the BS. Like, it could really be that simple too. Sometimes the simplest answer is the correct one. Is Trump going to get us all killed? I hope not. But 1 million people who died in 2020 could not be reached for comment. So I don't like to make light of these things, but it certainly feels like it sometimes. The what was it? The SNL sketch, I think it was in 2016, right? When Kate McKinnon was playing Hillary Clinton in the Love Actually thing, and she's got the sign outside with the carolers that says, he will kill us all. And, if we don't laugh, we will cry ourselves to sleep. Did you hear about the pardoned January 6er who just got arrested for child molestation against a little boy? I did. We had that actually. I had that lined up to talk about on the stakes last night with Tara. I had it lined up to talk about this morning. And then just, all these insane things keep happening, like threatening the lives of members of Congress. And, it's also equally important. We just don't get to it. It's just, but yes, Heidi, I did know about that. And hopefully we'll have time to talk about that in the next couple of days, because it is a very important story. What will Stefanik do now that Trump loves Mamdani? Funny you say that. So because she's been going crazy. Let me see if I can find this here. Elise Stefanik, she tweeted about this tonight. She's the worst. And if you guys know me at all, or if you've been listening to me or watching my Twitter or anything else, I despise Elise Stefanik in ways that I cannot describe. And yes, a reporter asked, Elise Stefanik called Mamdani a jihadist. This was this afternoon in that Oval Office meeting. Do you think you're standing next to a jihadist? Trump said no, but she's out there campaigning. You say things when you're in a campaign. I met with a man who is a rational person. So she went a little cray cray, and she doubled down and she said, we'll agree to disagree. Let me see yes, here it is. This is really awful. She's awful. Elise Stefanik is a soulless, craven human being. with no moral compass and no soul. And she said, we all want New York City, we all want NYC to succeed. That is bullshit. No, she doesn't. And she's talked shit about our city, and we will not forget this. But we'll have to agree to disagree on this one. If he walks like a jihadist, if he talks like a jihadist, if he campaigns like a jihadist, if he supports jihadists, he's a jihadist, and he's Kathy Hochul's jihadist. This is something she said. This is something she said. It's actually, you know what? I am going to throw this up here. There it is. There it is. If you can see this. That is her tweet tonight. That is Congresswoman Elise Stefanik from New York's 21st Congressional District, Harvard graduate Elise Stefanik, who has sold her soul to the devil himself. She's a horrible, horrible person. And I will do everything in my power to make sure that she loses next year to Kathy Hochul. And Kathy Hochul, by the way, already on TV, or she just posted a video saying that Elise Stefanik's full of shit. And so whoever's advising Kathy Hochul, fantastic job. Keep it up. Okay, my daughter works for Shure. Oh, wow. That's amazing, Linda. They have great mics. Sorry, guys, I'm a little behind here on these. It's hard to do this when it's just me. What about Senator of Georgia? Someone speculated about that earlier. That's also could be totally true. Again, like I don't know what statewide office she's planning to run for. It's definitely going to be statewide. But there is a chance she could run for president. I mean, I would not be surprised. Let's see. Michelle, thanks for all your outstanding service. Yes, I know. Without the glam. Yes, I am in my pajamas. I'm in my stretchy pants, like we all should be on a Friday night. How's Stephen Miller reacting to Mamdani and Trump? I don't know. I haven't seen anything yet. I could have missed it. I'm not sure. But I haven't seen anything yet. Doesn't mean he's not going to be running his mouth soon. Let's see. Six, Stefanik. Yes, she's the worst. My friend Tedra Cobb ran against Elise Stefanik twice because I am from the 21st Congressional District. I haven't lived there in over 20 years, but it's where I grew up and my family. My family's there, and I care deeply about that part of the state and the part of the country. And that is a part of the country that it's hurting. It's hurting because it's right on the Canadian border. So you're dealing with tourism. They're way down in tourism. They've lost a lot of money, a lot of small businesses in the tourism industry. Then you have, agriculture, and a lot of the farmers are hurting because of what's happening with our farmers, what's happening with USAID, what's happening with immigration. And then you have affordability of people who, there's parts of the district that don't have internet and things, so it's a very unique district. And also there's a military base, so you're dealing with federal workers as well. So she's not serving the people of her district. She does not care about them. This has all been a stepping stone for higher office and more power for her. So I feel bad that people have continued to choose her. Let's see. Elise is vile. Agree. Stefanik is crazy. Also agree. No class. Also agree. I think Kathy has said something about Stefanik. Yes, and she should continue to. I like Kathy Hochul. She is about my height. She's like teeny tiny, like probably 5'1". She's a little bit taller than me, maybe like 5'1", 5'2", and she is a spitfire. I enjoy her. Let's see. But these people are fine having Saudi murderers in the Oval Office. Exactly. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Mayday Network. You are so welcome. And thank you all for being here with me. On this, I texted Julie. I was like, let's go live. And she was like, I can't, I'm not home. And I was like, I'm going to have to do it. I was like, you know what? We can't not go live. This is too big news. So I'm here by myself. I'm trying to get used to doing these things by myself. And I guess the only way to get better at it is just to keep doing it. Let's see. So now that she's resigning, do we get any closer to regaining the House? That I don't know. I should know this. I mean, yes, I guess they have one less seat, right? And there's a possibility now of us getting one more. It's close, right? I don't know exactly the numbers now. This is something I will go look up, and so I can talk about it tomorrow morning with Tara and Julie. But yeah, listen, I mean, it's close, and the Republicans' poll numbers are underwater. Donald Trump's numbers are underwater. And after the big blowout, 2 Tuesdays ago, whenever that was, Mikey Sherrill and Abigail Spanberger won, Mike Johnson said at a podium, he's like, listen, if the Democrats take back the House, like, it's over. This administration is over. They're going to impeach him. Listen, I think the Senate's in play. If we can keep, if Democrats can get their shit together, or keep their shit together, rather. I read Vance is jealous of Mamdani. I mean, that would be really funny. Let's see. I'm just trying to see. I have cousins in Governor. I know Governor. I think that's where, isn't it Governor that lifesavers were invented there? Is there like a lifesaver factory or something? Governor also, why do I feel like Jane Fonda's mother's buried there or something like that? Governor is a lovely, lovely, lovely place in northern New York. I have been there many times. I stand Governor Hochul. Me too. We appreciate you. I love you guys. Michelle, you're doing a great job. Thank you. Julia Gooley, she's at Squash. No, yes, she is. She'll be at Squash tomorrow. Most Canadians have no desire to visit the U.S. I do not blame them at all. And actually, and I know probably Canadians are tired of hearing this, how bad so many of us feel. But I really, I grew up so close to Canada, like 15 miles over the border. And I love Canada. I love Canadians. I've always considered myself, ourselves on the over the border sort of honorary. Oh yeah, my mom just said her mother is buried there. So yes, Jane Fonda. Honorary Canadians in some ways, because so much of your culture has bled over into us. Like I watched CJOH and CTV and CBC growing up. I watched Mr. Dressup and Anne of Avonlea and Anne of Green Gables and all these things. So I love Canada, and the people of Canada are wonderful. And there's so many of us that feel really bad about it's just really terrible. I'm an American living in Canada. Can you take me with you? Michelle, did you hear that they have a new redistricting map in Utah that will create a blue seat in Utah? I did not know about that. I did see, however, that Texas, I think like a federal judge, I don't remember if it was a federal judge or see, I kind of see things and they don't permeate because I wasn't prepared to come on tonight, but that the Texas map, the new redistricting map, is allowed to stay for now. I don't know what the eventuality will be, but for now, I think they're allowing Texas to hold on to it. Let's see, ditto elbows up. Exactly. Let's see. I am likely relocating to Canada next year. I mean, amazing. Alito did that, Michelle, of course, because he is a terrible person. Heidi, same Michelle, is on the other side, loving America back. Exactly. So you get it. Let's see. 3 judge panel wiped out. Yeah. Let's see. Good to see you have the right mindset. Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, Canada is actually a very difficult place to move to. Without like a visa, like a job or family members or something. I loved Canada TV shows. Me too. I always felt like you could watch another episode of things. I remember like Golden Girls was on like an extra time, so I could always watch an extra episode of Golden Girls during the day. And Mr. Dressup, and I talk to people about Mr. Dressup, and they think that I'm crazy, and they're like, "What the hell is Mr.?" I was like, "No, I was like Canadian Mr. Rogers," and he had this thing called the tickle trunk. People don't believe me, or they think it's weird, and it really wasn't. It was like this man, and he had puppets and stuff, and that Mike Myers thing he did with the prime minister. They actually talk about that. So, okay, let's see. My hubby's Canadian. Fantastic. So you can go there very easily. Come to Australia. We're such good people here and far, far away. I know. If only my family wasn't here, I know I would. So many of us are like, where can we go if we had to? Hopefully that it'll never come to that. Yes, Casey and Finnegan. That's right. Trailer Park Boys, best show ever. Bubbles, the greatest character ever created. I toured with Pearl Jam in Canada. What? For real? That's crazy. That's amazing. Dang, good for you. Um, let's see. Team America is a prophecy. It really was. I remember seeing that at the movie theater. Was that like 2004, 2005? I think it was about 20 years ago. Let's see. Oh my God, what Pearl Jam. All right, guys. So I think we're getting to the end of this chat here. Thank you all so much. Buffalo, Western New York loves Canada. Yes, exactly. Exact 2004 was Team America. That's right. I was right when I moved to New York. I remember moving and like that summer going to the movie theater on 42nd Street and going to see that. Let's see. Thank you for bringing this story. Yes, I'm so glad you are all here. I'm baffled that I can turn this thing on and there's people who want to hear what we got to say. It's, I don't mean baffled, but maybe just, humbled, surprised on a Friday night, and really honored that you have chosen to spend your time with me. So I've been talking for an hour. Oh my God. OMG. I'm going to go protect the gift. I'm going to go save my voice. And I'll be back here tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock Eastern, with Tara Sitmayer and Julie Roginski. And hopefully we can have a lighter conversation, although I do think that we're going to be talking about Mamdani and that whole exchange, because it was actually just like kind of funny. And we need something to laugh at. So everyone, please, wherever you are, take care of yourselves, sleep well, be safe, and have a very pleasant evening. And we'll see you in the morning. Take care, everyone.